Hey everybody, welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Glenn Tompkins and I got another twofold video for you today. Well, we know with the current market's conditions, we keep moving up, we're moving down, hitting newer lows and all those kinds of things. But growth stocks can still have an opportunity to make money for you in the market, but you got to know when. So the twofold version of this video is knowing what growth stocks to buy, and I'm going to show you how, and when to buy them. If you want to know the answer to both of those questions, you sit right there. Hey everybody, Glenn Tompkins, senior instructor here on our YouTube channel. Always love bringing these videos to your attention, and I like this video today because it is a twofold scenario. If you're brand new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so that when new videos like this come out, you'll be alerted. And if you like the content, I need you to do me two favors. One, hit the like button and share this video so other people in your social circles can see what we're doing here at VectorVest. All right, so knowing that there's volatility in the market, knowing that the news overall in the market is still dismal, inflation is out of hand, and rising of the interest rates, those kinds of things, a war in Ukraine are still driving the market down, all right? But when the opportunity comes, when we get these short-lived bounces, growth stocks could be a great way for you to take advantage, but it is short-term. And you need to know the right time to take advantage of these stocks. So I've got a few stocks for you today, but let's start off by looking at what's going on in the market. So I've got two graphs up here. I've got our market timing graph, which looks at the movement of over 9,000 stocks. And for those of you who do not have VectorVest, I also put up the S&P 500 or the spiders. Now, I did a video not too long ago saying that, from the standpoint of looking for a bottom, our software does a great job of identifying when the market is starting to look for a bottom. But with the overarching news that's driving the economy down, I made mention that we're probably going to have several bottoms. When is the actual bottom going to kick in? Well, when the news starts to turn, when we can see some relief as far as inflation is concerned, and people feel a little bit more confident in the market. Right now, there's not a whole bunch of consumer confidence right now, and people are getting tired of paying extremely high prices at the gas pump. So until we can get some alleviation or some backup from that to keep us from feeling so encumbered that, man, just everything is so bad, that's when a real bottom will happen. So how long will that be? I don't know. But short term, you can see we fall, we find a little level of searching for a bottom, we run up. This is a good time to think about buying some of those growth stocks. Then you look for some kind of technical graph or some kind of technical inference in a graph. Like here on our market timing graph, here is a bearish Harami follow through. Boom. Would that have been a good time to get out of some of those stocks? Absolutely, once you got the follow through. We also had a wedge here. We broke to the bottom of the wedge. Let's look over on the S&P 500. Here, as the market rose higher, we had again a bearish Harami follow through. Boom, the market falls, and then we get that run up. So where do we want to start to look for getting into these stocks? After the market is set in a new low, which I anticipate will happen, when, don't know, but I think we will set a new low before we go higher again. Once that happens, start to look for whether it's in the spiders or for those of you who are VectorVest subscribers. Here, coming off of that bounce, we have a little bit of a bullish Harami follow through and the market moved up. Right now, with today's activity, we have a little bit of a bearish engulfing. We have to see tomorrow if we'll get follow through. Here, we've got 2 solid days of moving down, but I'm looking at a technical graph where I'm looking at 3 and 8 exponential moving averages. They're both positive on both. They haven't curved down yet, so that'll be a second notation. So first, you're looking for some kind of a technical inference in a graph. And then if you're using moving averages, I'm using fast moving averages, look for the 3-8 to cross. Those will be great opportunities to exit out of these growth stocks. So I'm setting the table for you. And if you agree with that, shake your head. I can't see it, but shake your head and say, at least that makes sense. So right now, as I record this video, I would say wait, but I'm going to give you some definite candidates to keep in mind once we get that next opportunity. Now, keeping in mind that these indicators are telling us that we could be turning down, they haven't happened yet. And who's to say that they still will? But you at least have your eyes open to potentially what could happen. All right, so now I've set the pace from the perspective of market timing. Now, let's start to talk about how to find these stocks. If you're a VectorVest subscriber, I can make this real easy for you. How about finding stocks between $1 and $10? Lower dollar stocks from a growth perspective, stocks that have the propensity to go up in price pretty quickly. How about, though, I want good average volume, 250,000 shares, greater than 250,000 shares average volume. Using some of the VectorVest indicators, though, relative value, the stock's upside potential on a scale between 0 and 2, greater than or equal to 1. The stock's growth rate in percentage per year, greater than 10% per year. I want growing stocks. Price actual, again, less than $10, and sales growth greater than or equal to 100%. We always say that earnings is the engine that drives the stocks market higher. But sales and sales growth is the oil, or actually the gas for the engine to push stocks prices higher. All right. And I have these sorted by our relative value indicator multiplied by our CI or comfort index, stocks that go up more than they go down. And I ran the search and I went through to go find some stocks, and I cherry picked based on technical graphs. So I went to find the stocks that fit the criteria, and then I went through technical graphs to cherry pick the stocks that I have for you. So what stocks do I have for you? Well, before we do that, let's go out to the news on the stocks that I have, starting with Nano Dynamics. A lot of people know about that stock. It's been in the news, but this was a story a few weeks back. Nano Dimensions Q1 revenue run rate indicates an approximately 300% growth potential. So that news caught my attention, but I'm going to look at the stock a little more deeply to determine whether or not if it's something that we should really like. Next one. Now, with the rising interest rates, bank stocks should be the beneficiary. How about 3 bank stocks most likely to up dividends and beat the recession? Now, there's 3 stocks in here. There's USB, US Bank Corp. There's also Fifth Third, but the one that I want to take a look at is Regions Financial. Serves customers in the region of the Midwest and the Southern U.S. and Texas through a subsidiary, Regions Banks, and has about $164 billion worth of assets. All right, so that was the stock. It gives you some more specifics about what's going on with the stock, but this was my second stock to take a look at. Ammo, here's another one. Ammo, POWW. They're going to release quarterly earnings this Wednesday. It's scheduled June 29th. Analysts expect the company to announce an earnings of 7% a share for the quarter. Investors interested in participating conference call, blah, 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 blah. So earnings could be a factor that pushes this stock higher. I still like it as a growth stock nonetheless. And then my last stock, well, there's one more stock that's going to be in the list. I didn't find a lot of news on, but I still like it from a growth perspective. But here's another one, and the news driving it. Canaan announces the repurchase of over 4.72 million outstanding warrants for approximately 6.61 US in millions. All right. So why is that important? Well, for those of you who need to know more about what a warrant is, a stock warrant is a financial contract between company and investors that give the investor the option to purchase the company's stock at a specific price and by a specific date, just like an option. A stock warrant allows the holder to receive newly issued stock from the same company that provided the warrant. Now, what are warrants? And that's not what I want. Is it? Yet. Yep, there it is. Are options issued by a company that trade on an exchange to give investors the right but not the obligation to purchase a stock at a specific price. The proceeds are a source of capital for the company. So I like it as a growth stock, but they're getting money to put back into the company. And again, that makes it very appealing to me from a growth perspective. And there's another stock again in the list that I didn't find much in the way of news on. So let's get right back into the software and get there. We'll get back into the software. And let's go take a look at my stocks. So in the viewers tab, in the watch list viewer, here's my 5 stocks. All right, ACTG was the stock that I did not get. That I didn't get much in the way of news. Now, the cool thing about this, using the VectorVest indicators, relative value, all of these stocks have above average potential for going up over the next 1 to 3 years, with the biggest one being Canaan has a 70% chance of outpacing a AAA corporate bond over the next 1 to 3 years. I like that. Now, the safeties, you're going to give up a little bit of safety on a growth stock. Also notice that we give a value on every stock, and each one of my stocks is under their current value. Why is that important? Because undervalued stocks tend to rise to meet their value over the next 1 to 3 years, again, which is a positive note that makes it appetizing for me. So looking at those 2 things, the stocks are being undervalued, that they have good upside potential, and only 2 of them, by way of our relative timing indicator, are moving up in price. 1 is a sell recommendation. 4 out of the 5 have positive earnings. So the only one that has negative earnings is Nano Dynamics, but they grow their earnings at a clip of 22% a year. Now notice that each and every one of these companies grow their earnings in double digits. That's important, especially knowing that earnings is the engine that drives the stock's price higher. Now, from a dividend perspective, only one of these companies pay a dividend, and that is Regions. And look at that. We've got an indicator called dividend safety on a scale between 0 and 99. Regions has a very high rate of either maintaining or growing their dividends, which makes it good for me as well. All right, so those are my stocks, all right, based upon the news, based upon what's going on in the market. And again, you want to wait to see if the market's going to continue going higher, but look at those technical indicators on your graph, number 1. Number 2, if the market does decide to pull back, most likely you will find a new low in the current market's conditions. And then look for those opportunities where it's going to bounce again, looking at some kind of a bullish candle formation. And here's 5 stocks that I want you to keep your eyes on from that perspective. Now, why did I like these stocks? Let's go graph them. As I go and graph them and put them on a 3-month graph, here again, I'm looking at the 3 and the 8 exponential moving average, but I'm also looking at another indicator, relative timing. Relative timing tells me when a stock is in an uptrend or not. I like to see if I can find growth stocks where the RT just went above the value of 1 as an indication that now the stock's in an uptrend. I'm going to change the graph layout to something called the Midas touch. This is just like King Midas. Everything he touched turned to gold. And I'm going to put on the 5-day moving average of RT along with the 40-day moving average of RT. Another indicator, if you are a VectorVest subscriber, is to find when the 5-day goes above the 40-day. Our managing director in Canada, Stan Heller, likes this, and he calls it the near perfect indicator. We just had a summit this past Friday, and if you want access to that video specifically, we've got a whole bevy of videos from Friday that you can pay for. Go take a look at it. But it's a great video. Looking at a 10 and a 65-day moving average of the stop price, notice that the price is currently above both. I like that. I like that the 5 is above the 40 on the relative timing, and the stock is a buy at this particular point in time. Let's go to the next stock. Regions Financial. There's where the 5 is just going above the 40. Could it be an inclination that it's on its way up? We can only see as long as the market keeps on going, and it's above the 10-day moving average of the stop price. The next one, Powell, even though it's going down, it is currently above the shorter term moving average, and the 5-day moving average of RT just went above the 40. All right, let's go to the next one. ACTG. This is one of those stocks that for the most part is moving sideways, but moving up now. The 5 just recently went above the 40-day, and it's currently above both of my moving averages of the stop price of the stock. And last but not least, the 5-day moving average of RT just went above the 40. It's currently below both of my slower and longer term moving averages. But if the market continues to move higher, I do like the relative value on the stock, and I like the other information. So with that, folks, 5 stocks that are growth stocks that could be poised to move as long as the market is conducive to the movement of those stocks. So again, twofold. What stocks to take a look at and when is the right time. And I think that if the market does decide it wants to pull back once again, it will probably find a new market low. You now know what to look for, whether you're a VectorVest subscriber or looking at the S&P 500 of what to look for. These candidates are primed for you to take advantage of. So with that, folks, this video is over. And until the next time, see ya.